following podcast may contain spoilers.
This is the Binge Movies feature presentation review of 1988's The Blob.
Since 2009, Wolfman and scientist of the Darkest Order, Doctor Wolfula, has been reviewing horror movies on YouTube. Broadcasting from his Wolfie lair, the not-so-good doctor has been the very best horror reviewer for over a decade. Now, I'm not currently under the hypnotic suggestion of Dr. Wolfula, as this would be illegal without my consent, and since the Transylvania Hypnotherapy Authority revoked his license back in 1947, I am saying this of my own free will. There is no way in which an evil mad scientist, Wolfman horror movie reviewer who is pure evil incarnate would ever hypnotize a faithful video store clerk and podcaster. Welcome to sunny tropical Akron, Ohio, Doc. When was the last time you were in a video store?
Actually, I mean, there's an FYE nearby, but that's it's kind of a video store. I mean, it's got records and stuff, but they also when you check out, they sign you up for like this mailing list and all this magazine stuff.
Yeah.
It's just it's not as great as like an actual mom and pop video store. I don't know when the last time I've been to an actual authentic video store like this. So I can't say actually. I think the last time the closest thing was when Blockbuster closed down, but that's not a mom and pop video store either. I remember there was plenty of mom and pop video stores like in my general area at one point, but now that they left like mid 2000s. Like, it's been a long time.
Look, when the folks at the Not Walt Disney Corporation said to us that they wanted us to open a mom and pop video store of all times during a global pandemic, I thought that was pretty insane. We had been in an apocalyptic bunker reviewing movies to prepare for the end times that they themselves would cause. And I thought, oh, now, it went from torturous to safe. I feel safe because I'm in a bunker. They then moved me out into the public. I thought a video store during a pandemic. First of all, who's going to video stores anymore? Second of all, pathogens, germs. And you know what? The geniuses at that company, the not Imagineers, as we like to call them for legal purposes, they imagined a video store would be a success, and it is. And I think the real key to the success that we've had here, Doc, and you can speak to this as a scientist, as a man of science, a aware man of science. A lot of people don't know it. Copyrights and trademarks are not legally binding across dimensional planes. And so if you can say punch a hole in the universe and reach into a parallel universe and pull out Black Widow from that universe and then put it on Laserdisc in this one and then rent it to people, that dimension has no standing in court. It's great. So once they figured that out, and once you figured we could kind of shift the timeline around, I mean, we've had stacks and stacks and stacks of German dubs of Top Gun Maverick here in the video store for, I don't know, months at this point. I mean, people are sick of watching it. They're like, when's the next Top Gun, sequel coming out? And unfortunately, our reach isn't that far into the future. To me, that's voodoo. I don't understand how that science works. All I know is that when you come to Binge Movies, you get discounts. And when you go on YouTube and you're looking for a horror reviewer who is the very best, despite being evil, we're talking about you, Doc. So those are the two things I know. The other thing I know is I'm honored to have you here to talk about a movie that came out in 1988, made middling returns to the box office, and that isn't necessarily held in high regard. But ever since I was a wee little lad digging through my dad's VHS copies of whatever he had recorded off of Cinemax Horror Nights on Saturday, I found The Blob as a very young video store clerk, very young movie obsessive, and I've liked it ever since. And I'm here talking to the greatest horror reviewer out there today about one of my favorite movies. So this is a good day for me, Doc. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, sure. It's great to be here. It's great to be here. Yeah.
Now, as someone who is vaguely immortal, It's ambiguous to me whether or not you've just always existed, whether you were created, whether you were born. I just kind of feel like your presence has always been here, even before, during the times of chaos. And when's the first time you saw the Blob in 1988?
Well, I gotta say, I first saw the Blob back in the year of 1988, and I gotta tell you, those movie theaters, they were packed. I went to every screening throughout the United States. All the theaters were packed, and it made all of its money back and then some. It was a huge box office success. It just made, I think it made like $250 million. I might just be saying things, but it made a lot of money. It made a huge chunk of change. I'm not just saying that because, I had a stake in that film, and I didn't
Right.
I didn't make any money back, because I did. I made so much money. Oh yeah.
So you're not just a doctor. You're not just a man of science. I'm sorry, I gotta get that right. You're not just a Silver Bolo award-winning horror reviewer. You are not only those things, you were a Hollywood producer at one time. This is amazing.
I mean, let's be real. All the producers in Hollywood, they're monsters. Let's be real here. So it shouldn't be a surprise. They kicked me out because I was not monstrous enough, unfortunately.
That sounds right. I mean, I consistently talk about the dark movie overlords, and this is beginning to make sense now, that the dark movie overlords, the shadowy figures who are bringing about a cinematic apocalypse, who are high above me. I'm just one of very many vertically integrated corporations as a part of the not Walt Disney Corporation. It makes me think that you yourself may be one of those dark movie overlords, or maybe you were in the past, but you weren't quite evil enough. I'm learning so much about you, and because of that, I'm learning so much about myself. So thank you, Doctor. I think we can add educator to your title. Is that fair?
Oh, I mean, honestly, that's how I describe myself. I'm teaching you guys the truth. The truth, okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I was blind, but now I see. Yeah, this is wonderful.
Wow.
Hell, Doctor Wolfula. What else is there left to say?
If I don't end a podcast without that being said, then I haven't done my job. So thank you.
Yeah, well, it's this mission accomplished. We haven't even talked about the movie yet. We could just stop it right there, but we're not going to, because on feature presentation reviews, we like to play a little game we call Pass or Recast. First up, we're going to go through the top billed actors, rapid fire. Doc, and we're going to see whether or not you think they should get a pass, or whether or not you would have recast them. And if you want to put Mickey Rooney or any of the older actors who maybe you had under contract at one time in the role instead, let us know. As a producer of this movie, this is your chance to say, I originally had, so-and-so pegged for this role, but I got overturned by those horrible Hollywood monsters, that Frank Darabont son of a bitch. Okay, so starting off, we've got Kevin Dillon as Brian Flagg. Would you give him a pass or a recast?
Some would call Kevin Dillon the lesser Dillon brother, but I think he's honestly the stronger of the two. He deserves an Oscar, so I'd give him a pass. He was pretty okay in this role.
I've always been surprised that Kevin Dillon hasn't turned up in more Peter Berg movies.
Oh yes, Berg.
Scorsese has his repertory company of he could be Pete Berg's De Niro, is what I'm saying. I give him a pass. I think he's fine. What about Shawnee Smith, horror icon? Does she have screen queen status in the horror community there, Doc?
Honestly, I'm not really familiar with her. I'd honestly say
she's the Saw girl.
Oh wait, oh yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't actually realize that until looking at her Wikipedia page right now. She works great in Saw. I'm not so sure about this movie though. I think I'd give her a pass. I don't know if she's like this kind of role. I'd say maybe put Patricia Arquette in there, or someone else. I don't know.
You don't think she can pull off the All-American cheerleader? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I guess now that I know that she played the Amanda character in Saw, I don't know. Like now I'm gonna imagine her like being like, at some point she became like a a crack addict at one point. I don't know if that's really has that same appeal.
I totally understand. What about, I'll give her a pass myself. What about Donovan Leitch Jr. as Paul Taylor? Not long for this world and not long for his arm. Would you pass or recast Mr. Donovan here?
Well, he's kind of the Janet Leigh of this movie, where you think he's the hero, but then he dies super early. So that's kind of interesting. But as far as the actor, I feel like it would have been interesting if they had gotten someone a little bit more high profile. Like if they had gotten like a Johnny Depp or something, like a teen heartthrob at that time, like spent a little extra money. They might have even gotten a little bit of box office. I mean, that's what I told them when we were making the film. That's what I told Frank and Chuck when we were on the set. We should have got a big heartthrob. That would have, guys. That's what the kids want to see. That's what puts the asses in the seats. But they didn't listen.
I think they
got Donovan Leitch. So
yeah, I think you're actually right. I think had they gotten a more high profile teen actor, whoever it would have been at the time, right? And you put him in that role, and you're like, well, this is the Steve McQueen equivalent. And then you have, I think, one of the all-time great kills of the 80s in that movie, but it's of a higher profile actor. To your point, Doc, once again, genius. That's why you're the doctor. Then I just look at it and I go, that it makes it that much more impactful when you have a guy who is kind of somebody, but not really, and it doesn't have the same effect. If you would have gotten whoever the equivalent of a Steve McQueen was at that time of a teen 45-year-old teenager. You get an 45-year-old teenager who's twice divorced and has cirrhosis of the liver. You stick him in that role, then you melt his face. I think that now we're talking. I
think they should have just revived Steve McQueen in his 50s. I mean, it's sort of ironic that he died at the age of 50 because he looked 50 in the Blob, and that movie came out like 23 years before he died. So that's interesting.
Right. He died in 1980, but I think, here's the thing. They had a mad fucking scientist.
He lived a full life within that span of 50 years, I have to say.
He had a full life in the span of the first 20 years. But here's the thing, Doc. You're a mad scientist. You have goulash. You're a monster who makes monsters. You're a god among monsters. You could have revived him. You could have brought him back from the dead. Why the fuck didn't they turn to you? I don't understand it.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. A side effect of rejuvenation is that they come back green, and we could have color corrected it. I mean, that would have been easy, but they didn't want to listen. So
they have makeup.
It is what it is.
I've seen goulash with that sort of, like the Joker, Jack Nicholson's Joker, where he puts the human makeup on top of his bleached skin. I think I've seen goulash at my local Tower Records every now and again. Well,
this movie came out a year before Batman, and we just weren't thinking about that. I mean, because Jack Nicholson actually is pale white. Like, he is that color scheme. So,
wow.
That's he's got a terrible skin condition. So, it's one of those things where it wasn't really brought to light until that film was released, Batman. It was perfect casting, though, because it was very... Yeah. They didn't even know. Tim Burton was just like, oh, wait, we don't have... Oh, man, we're going to save so much money on the makeup. Oh, hell yeah.
What about Jeffrey DeMunn from Walking Dead? He just works with Darabont and Russell.
Oh, yeah. He's a frequent Darabont collaborator. Pass I like him. I'd say pass, but I feel like I would have liked... I don't know. I feel like I didn't get enough of him in this movie, but he's great.
I think he's great. He's another. I don't want to drop a Scooby-Doo reference here, but I think he's another red herring. But instead of a red herring for a villain, he's a red herring for a protagonist, because we shift over from we just killed Steve McQueen and the original Blob. The only other protagonist in the movie, other than the shrieking hysterical girlfriend, is the sheriff or the deputy or whatever he is, and Dave. And I think we thought, now that he's dead, this guy who's already shown, a little bit of a heart of gold, and he's kind of a good guy, he's going to come to the rescue. And then I think he's got one of the all-time great death reveals of the 1980s. So we'll get into it as we get further into the movie. But I'm going to give him a pass as well. Could have used him a little bit more, but I like what they did with him. I like the fake out. I like what this script does. What about Joe Seneca as Dr. Meadows? He's this is you look up his IMDb. This is right at the top of the order. What did you think of his performance? Pass or recast?
Oh, yeah, I like this guy in the movie. I wish there was more of him. I wish he kind of got a better... Well, I don't want to spoil it, but I wish he got a better conclusion. But I think it just a really interesting take on this kind of character. Like, usually these, like, head scientist dudes are, like, you know, just kind of... You know, just white guys. But this is like an old black guy who's like the head of this whole science team. Like it's just like this whole interesting thing that's like not familiar. And I feel like it is like he's like I think he's the only black guy in the movie.
Yeah.
Like wait, there's the mechanic. There's the mechanic. Yeah, there's the mechanic character. But that mechanic character he only shows up at the beginning with Dylan, and then at the end he like just has like a little one-liner like, "Have faith, it's snowing." Look, I'm making jokes. But,
I better get every single one of my screwdrivers back, and at the end, I told you it was gonna snow. Yeah,
I gotta say, I do like Joe Seneca's performance in the film. Like it is just really, it's really unexpected.
It's really unexpected, and when he has to deliver science-y lines in a creepy way. Not only is it shot well.
Oh yeah, that voice is great.
Yeah, not only is it shot well and the framing of his face is right, but there is a malevolence to his voice. So I wish, I'm with you. I wish we could have got a little bit more of him. And I'm a guy who's on the record on Twitter going, I don't want more horror movies with science guys standing around in lab coats talking about shit. But this is a case in which Joe Seneca is so good. I want more guys in hazmat suits talking about shit. Give me some exposition because it's delicious. I mean, I eat it up.
I suggested we make the whole movie guys in hazmat suits, but again, they weren't listening. People would have watched that.
That's right. Now, probably the most bizarre casting, but I think it works really well, so I'm tipping my hand a little bit, is Del Close as Reverend Meeker. The idea that they got Del Close and put him in a schlock movie is delicious to me. It's wonderful.
The father of improv.
They're like, here, you're going to play a schlock reverend in this schlock 80s remake of a movie that was junk in the 50s. And, you're going to be essentially the antagonist.
You can tell it's Del Close because every other line he says, yes and. Yes and.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, he's constantly feeding his partner. Yeah, that's absolutely right.
I think this is his only like major role I can think of.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it's so strange. It's inspired casting, inspired by hallucinogenics, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how they got to this. I mean, you could probably speak to it. Why the hell did you put Del Close in this movie? And how do you think he did? Because I think he did excellent. I think he's like top 2 of creepy preachers from the 80s, man. Other than the ones that really killed people. Talking about in the movies, of course.
Well, you know, I just gotta say, there's just something about how creepy he is. Just had to cast him. Like he was just always saying yes and like it scared the hell out of me. I don't know what was up with that.
Yeah.
Like he had some kind of condition. He wasn't even, I guess it's not really improv. He's just saying yes and over and over again.
Yeah.
Like
it's a syndrome.
Oh God.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he found a way to market a disability, and you got to give him credit for that.
He's great in the movie. He seems like he has like a sequel hook that, of course, didn't end up happening. So definitely a promising character, and it would have been cool to see, I guess, where that would have gone. I guess, but I guess not. I mean, we can always bring Del Close back to life, so we could probably explore that.
He'd be green, Doc.
Yeah, but that's perfect. That's perfect in that case.
What about Paul McCrane as Deputy Bill Briggs? This is one of 2 movies in which somebody melted on screen. This time, one was him, of course, famously in RoboCop. He does not melt on screen here, and I just wonder if he thought that was maybe gimmick infringement.
Let me think. I mean, I think anytime a guy melts, it's the highlight. Like, like when that Wicked Witch melts, I was just like cheering in the theater. even though she was my sister, but it's whatever. But yeah, I gotta say, like, yeah, he's pretty damn good. But honestly, the effects, like, I feel like the effects definitely overshadow any of the casting in this movie. I mean, Bill Moseley's in the movie. Yeah. I didn't even realize it was him, like, until looking at it later. Like, he really is just like
guy in a suit.
He's a chameleon. Yeah, he's just also just in a suit.
Yeah,
like where you can barely tell it's him to begin with.
The honorable mention is Robert Axelrod, a.k.a. Jennings. I don't know if this came up, if you figured this out as you were living your life in the 90s. But he would later go on to become Lord Zed from Power Rangers. Oh, yeah. Which is fucking insane. This guy's two biggest credits, and he's since passed away, is he was Jennings, which is, he's the conscionable objector. It's like, I don't think we should be killing these people in this town. Doc, not you, the other Doc. And he's like, we got to do what we got to do. They're expendable. And then he goes on to be Lord Zed. If you pull up his IMDb, he's just Lord Zed and he's Jennings from the Blob. And I think that is amazing. And that blew my fucking mind as a child of the 90s.
The crazy thing about Lord Zed is that for a while there was like a double horror aspect to him. Because like for years, because Ed Neal plays the suit actor for Lord Zed, and for years people just assumed that they were talking about the Ed Neal who played the hitchhiker in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like for years I thought, oh, the hitchhiker from Texas Chainsaw Massacre played Lord Zed in the suit, like on the set. But no, it turns out it's just a different actor with the same fucking name. Like, God, really disappointed when I found that out. Oh, damn it. Because that's really cool trivia. Like,
it is. Well, let's get in the movie a little bit here, Doc. I know we don't have you for long, so I want to. You've got very many experiments and very many movies to review, and of course, you have to pretty much keep your thumb on goulash at all time. I mean that.
Oh yeah, I got my thumb on him right now.
I love that the movie opens with a haunting and foreboding opening of this eerie ghost town of small town America. And then just cut to, well, it's not a ghost town. It's just all of these all-American Christian white people are watching football, high school football. It's a Friday Night Lights situation long before there was a Friday Night Lights. And I love that. I think that's, it sets up the tone perfectly that this is going to have some spooks and be a little spooky, be a little creepy. And also it's going to be a little funny. And it's going to subvert your expectations. And I think it's fascinating that they went and they found a town that in real life, I think it's supposed to be, I don't know where, somewhere where they have ski resorts. And instead they filmed it in Louisiana of all places, which is pretty interesting. But also they found a town with a fucking cemetery next to a high school football field. So you just pan over from a creepy ass cemetery during these creepy ass shots of leaves rustling around and glowing, title card to all American football. I think that's just a very deft hand there that stuck out to me. And I don't know about you, Doc, but the first 10 minutes of this movie perfectly sets up everything in this movie. Sets up the town, the ensemble, the cast, your primary characters. You got Paul, like we said, as your kind of Steve McQueen, so we think. You got Flag as the bad boy. They've basically taken the entire, the hoods and the drag racers of the original Blob, distilled them down into one cool kid with a leather jacket and a motorcycle. He's the bad boy with a heart of gold. You got Meg, who's the stereotypical dumb cheerleader, but who's actually pretty smart in this movie and is the hero of the film, I think. And we get all that established. We get the preacher, we get Del Close, we get the pharmacist, we get the sheriff and the deputy. We get everybody we need in this movie within the first 10 minutes. That's the first strength of the film, I think, is efficiency of storytelling. What do you think, Doc?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I feel like more happens in the first 10 minutes of this movie than in the entirety of the original Blob. Kind of. The original Blob is definitely a classic, but it really takes its time to have stuff happen. At one point, it almost feels like the fire at the end is a bigger threat than the actual Blob, where you're just like, true. Okay, we're going to take your word for it that this thing is going to destroy the whole town.
That's 100% 100% true. And the thing is, every Sunday I watch old movies. I watch older films. And, I'm working through the classics, and so many of them are great. They're classics for a reason. So I'm not one of these guys that's like, if it was before I was born, it's trash. I'm not one of those people. But god damn, man, when the climax of the movie is whether or not a guy can put his pants on to get to the fire, when it's a Blob movie, and we spend so much time with him just parked at a stoplight. So yeah, the first 10 to 15 minutes of this movie, we get efficiency of actual storytelling. And by the time the Blob actually shows up, the Blob does shit. And so I like it. I also like that there's some intelligence, I think, to the writing. This isn't just a movie that's trafficking in the name of, a famous drive-in B movie for, a new generation. This is one of the first horror movies that I remember being subtly aware of what it was supposed to be and then subverting that, or at least playing around with it a little bit. Did you pick up on any of the meta-ness of the Blob? And I know you're more of a straight horror guy from watching all of your reviews. What do you think of the more meta aspects of this version of the Blob?
Well, I kind of like the fact that it was, because it is a throwback to a 50s kind of, because like at this point slasher movies were big, so it was kind of an anomaly compared to some of the other horror movies that were coming out, because it was just like a remake of a 50s monster movie, and monster movies weren't as in vogue at this point, so it kind of also takes some time to, have some commentary on like the current horror cycle, where they were sort of making fun of slasher films at the time by having kind of this almost like a Watchmen-esque thing where there's this parody of a Friday the 13th movie that the characters go see, where it's just like this movie within a film that's just commenting on the world, and I like where the kids say, "Oh, it's got tons of blood and gore, but there's no sex or other bad stuff in it." Like where it's just like, because like the 80s were like super hardcore on gore. Like it was just in every movie you could possibly put it in.
Well,
like,
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Doc. So I think an example of both those strengths that I'm talking about, efficiency of storytelling and intelligence in the writing, is the kids and the mom scene, right? So we cut to the Blob going up the guy's arm, and which is, very well done. It's just a reverse shot, but it looks very good. The Blob itself looks very good. And then we cut to the kid like sucking the Jello up into his mouth.
Oh yeah,
great cut. And then so that's an in joke, obviously, about the first movie. Then we get slasher movie meta commentary, where they start talking about Garden Tool Massacre 6 or whatever it's supposed to be. And ironically, the thing that stuck out to me is that this movie arguably has more gore in it, and probably not arguably, has more gore in it than mainstream slashers did, especially by this point by 1988. Because as you've noted in your Friday the 13th reviews, by 1988, the gore was starting to get cut out. So we think of the 80s, we think of more of like the early 80s, maybe even the mid 80s. But by this point, the MPAA is going to town on slasher movies. So what the hell was going on in all of your research? What the fuck was going on at the MPAA? And do you think this movie is actually more gory than whatever the Friday the Jason Takes Manhattan? I would say so.
Yeah, ironically, this came out the same year as Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, which got super cut down, like where literally every gore shot got cut out. But yeah, this movie is extremely gory, so it really does show that it is just like the MPAA is just like they hold grudges, because they always held grudges against Wes Craven, like against specific directors and specific franchises, where they just look the other way if it's like a Blob remake, where it's just like, this isn't gonna make that much money anyway. Like where it's like, yeah, it's whatever, you can just release it as is, because I don't know if anything got cut out of this movie. It doesn't seem like it. It seems like it's pretty gory.
Yeah,
like.
yeah. And I can't imagine what they would have cut. So do you think, because it's a monster, and do you think it was because it was a monster, or do you think they had a hard-on for Paramount and for Friday the 13th? Because Friday the 13th was seen as, even by Paramount, as like utter garbage. You had Siskel and Ebert who were like, all it is people poking each other. If you see it, you're a sex pervert, you're a knife pervert.
But what I am saying is this, that the film is literally about stabbing. In other words, if you like this picture, what you have liked, I believe, is the idea that someone will get a stick put through their body, because that's the essence of this movie.
Well, it can be argued that since it's a monster, these aren't really imitatable acts. Because, like, if you're Jason, you know, I mean, you could pick up, like, a machete and just, like, slice somebody up. So it could be argued that they're harsher on stuff that people can actually imitate, because you cannot turn into a blob creature. I tried. You can't turn into a blob creature and disintegrate people and, like, turn them into goo. So it can be argued that it's like much more kind of, it's gory, but it's like it's much more of a fantasy gore kind of violence. So maybe that's the motivation for why they would look the other way on this kind of horror movie. But you know, it is just a lot of the times though, it is just pettiness from the MPAA.
We got to go through the kills a little bit here because it's a horror movie. We got to talk about it a little bit here. The first kill is obviously it's almost a recreation of the 58 opening, where you have this sort of derelict guy, hobo guy, can man guy, who sticks a meteor, or what we think is a meteor, and the blob comes out. It's relatively small, goes up his arm. You know, the protagonist and the protagonist date, which is Meg, take him to the hospital. Second kill is Paul. And what is amazing is, so far from what I've been able to find out, the only gif of this movie is the gif of Paul being dissolved. And the idea of Meg just coming into the doorway. You have Paul, who the blob is on its way out the window. And so it's literally like dragging him out the window, but because it's essentially acid, it's dissolving him as it's doing it, as it's pulling him away, and his skin and his muscle tissue is pulling away from his body, as the only piece of him that's not blobbed up is his arm. She's holding on to his arm, and his whole forearm dissolves off. And then there's this like sucking sound as his eyeballs and his tongue and his lungs and everything else gets sucked out of the back of his body until there's just nothing fucking left of him. And then she obviously passes out. Now, she seems relatively fine for having seen something horrific the rest of the movie. But when I think of horror, that is one of the first images I go to. If it's not Freddy Krueger, it's this. And when I think about the 1980s, because having seen this movie at a very delicate age, this scene freaked the ever-living fuck out of me. This is a disturbing death. And now I look at it and I just completely appreciate it, because it's all done in camera. It is a practical optical effect. Some of the other optical effects that we have in the movie do not hold up, but I think this one does.
It feels like something that's supposed to kind of take you off guard, because like in the original Blob film, they'll tell you, oh, the blob has absorbed 50 people, and you're just like, well, I guess we'll take your word for it, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. It just seems like he's getting bigger, but okay.
My favorite moment is there's their equivalent theater scene, right? And the Dave or whatever comes out. One of the deputies goes in, he stops him, and completely emotionless, so he says to him, "You don't want to go in there, Jim. It's the worst thing I've ever seen." One, we're not going to see it. We're not going to show you. Two, it's the worst thing this guy's ever seen, but it doesn't affect him at all. As opposed to this, where it is just like straight up like, we're not fucking around. You thought you were coming to see a goofy Blob movie. We're going to fucking kill these kids. We're going to kill them in a gruesome way, and they're going to melt in front of your face, and they're going to get devoured, and it's going to be gross. And I have to imagine, for the 10 people who saw this in theaters when it came out, that had to get a reaction, I would think. What is, now, 40 some years later almost, what was your reaction revisiting a movie you helped produce when you saw that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty cool death scene. Like, I'm looking at it right now on my DVD, and yeah, she just took his arm off. Yeah, like it's very grisly, where it isn't just motherfuckers get like dissolved, they just get like you just see it all happen, like their faces melt off, like they like it's gory, where it isn't just it's something that you wouldn't expect with a Blob movie, is that there's so much blood, where it's like
yes,
where you would think like they would just be melting, but it's like just really they add a lot of extra detail where you just, because it's translucent, you get to just see it progressively happen and how horrible it is. Where it feels like the people dying become like an element of the Blob, because it is just like this slime. But when you see like a dude dying in it, it gives it this sense of like menace.
Yeah.
Like it kind of adds to it, where it becomes like these people who are just getting eaten by it just become a part of the monster. Like,
yeah. Well, it gets pinker and redder over time, because when we first see it, when it comes out of the little shell, it's pink-ish, but it's kind of translucent, like you said. It's kind of whitish, pinkish. And by the end of this thing, in one of the, I think, the all-time great set pieces, it's red, and there's all kind of viscera and weird things floating around in it if you really look at it. And yeah, it's the blood. It's somehow absorbing. It's dissolving these people, but it's becoming not just larger but more bloody looking as the movie goes on, which is a nice little touch. I really liked it. Our third kill here is Erica Laniak, who'd go on to do Baywatch, I believe, and she showed up in a few movies of this time. And she's with her predatory date, Scott. And within the first 20 minutes, 3 of the first 5 characters who we were introduced to are dead. So they are like, seriously, within 20 minutes, they just killed off the principal cast of the movie. So the sleazeball friend, which was a trope of the 80s, and sometimes the sleazeball was the hero. See Revenge of the Nerds. Not worth a revisit, but this, the sleazeball here is he drugging her? I know he's liquoring her up. Is he putting something in these drinks? He's got a full bar cart in his trunk.
He also has like a little basketball hoop in there for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah. He's obviously, a piece of shit. And I know that that's supposed to, like, it's an old 80s trope of like, we can't kill kids or we can't kill people unless we sort of show you that they're morally worthy of dying in some instances. But that doesn't seem to fit with this movie, because no one else in this movie really deserves to die, other than maybe the evil, U.S. government doctor, Joe Seneca's character. It seems sort of odd that you just killed Paul. Maybe you want to make it more thematically distinct because you killed a protagonist, but he was already just kind of a piece of shit guy. We already gathered that. I don't know that you needed to go to the date rape card. And not only that, they kill the victim. They kill the girl first. And the only thing I could think of is that it's like a weird revenge thing, because it's actually her body, which is not dissolved, which I don't understand, but the blob this time is inside of her, almost like the Thing, and the tentacles come out and he gets absorbed. So he's trying to undress a passed out girl, and her body revolts against him, and it turns out it's the blob, and he gets eaten pretty much off screen. What did you think about this? Is it a commentary on something, or is it just a dumb 80s kill?
It's a strange death. It is one of the. It's a little unfortunate, because it is like, well, this sleazy dude gets killed, but also the girl gets killed simultaneously. So it's kind of slightly upsetting in that regard. But it's a weird death in just how her face kind of just collapses in on itself. It's one of the weirdest deaths in the movie to me, because I don't quite understand it compared to the other deaths where the blob becomes part of her brief. Like, it doesn't do anything like this, I don't think, in the rest of the movie. It's a very strange kind of death. It feels like the kind of death that they would do in like like they're trying to do like different kinds of gimmicky Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th deaths, where it's like just like they, and it feels kind of disconnected from the rest of the movie too, where you could cut this out. I think you would, like, it definitely feels like one of those Friday the 13th deaths where it's like these characters are inserted into the movie, and the death is cool, it's interesting, but it's one of those things where you can cut it out and you just like, yeah, you don't really lose anything plot wise. I feel like the other kills and the other death scenes and are a little bit more vital to the plot. So it's a strange death, and it definitely just feels like it was probably like maybe added on just to give it more of that kind of mainstream horror appeal, where there's like a larger body count and there's kind of some of the tropes of horror films that are typically used are just thrown in, I suppose. But yeah, it's a cool death. It's just kind of weird. I don't know if it's necessarily a commentary. It could be. I mean, it feels like it is maybe just like flipping the idea on its head, where like the promiscuous characters are killed, but it's a much more darker and realistic version of it, I suppose. Like, it's not as it's just uglier, like just not as like fun as what's usually depicted in these movies, where it's just the circumstances surrounding these situations are just a lot less just less fun in general.
I understand, like, the Blob gets in the car. I don't understand how the Blob, like, gets inside of her. I don't understand anything. I don't understand anything about
Feels like
that.
maybe like something a producer threw in, like a producer who's probably from Italy or something. Was like, what if the Blob joins with her?
Right.
And like just something where it's like, that's not really what the Blob does. But okay, well, whatever.
What if the Blob joins with her? Yeah. Some sort of weird, like, Fulci Argento weird sex
actually,
shit.
it feels like a kill from John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yes,
like, it feels
very
like a
much.
completely different monster.
Yes.
Like, where it feels like, wait, oh yeah, the Blob doesn't turn into people. Whatever. It's whatever.
Yeah, we get a little bit of
And
rest.
it has like tentacles in that scene too, I think.
Yeah, oh yeah, the
where
tentacles are shooting out of her eyes and her mouth and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely just feels like they saw the thing and they were like, well, let's do our own kill. Like, I don't know. It feels a little weird.
I would categorize this as a body horror movie to some extent. It's a monster movie, body horror movie, but that's the most body horror, like direct body horror genre sort of thing that happens. But yeah, it defies the fictional physics of the Blob, so it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. The fourth kill that we get is they're at the diner and they're talking, and the Blob makes its way into the pipe system. And Doc, I shit you not, the greasy spoon cook George is at the sink. He's washing dishes and there's a clog in the sink. And I saw this movie and I could not put my hands in a sink with water in it for over 25 years because of this movie. And the idea that this thing is reaching up and dissolving this guy so fast that it's able to take an entire very large man's body into the pipes with only the slightest of bulges is really a disturbing concept. It's kind of silly, almost silly looking now, but there's something about all of this that is just fucking gross. Fran, who's the waitress, runs to the phone booth, which talk about throwback. She's trying to get a hold of the sheriff. She's calling for help. The Blob encases the phone booth, and she turns, and there, floating in the midst of the Blob, is the sheriff.
It's sort of, the sheriff. Oh yeah, okay. I guess it's sort of hard to tell because they all look the same when they're disintegrating.
We know because he's got the badge on. So the sheriff has got the badge on. And so Jeff DeMunn, who we thought, well, now that the kid's dead, we're thinking. I could have
sworn that guy lived to the end. I guess I got him confused with one of the other cops or something.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, now that I'm looking at the scene, yeah, it is Jeff DeMunn.
Yeah, he's dead.
I guess it is like an ironic thing where it's like she's trying to get the police to come there, but the police the sheriff is like disintegrating.
Well, he's on his way there because he's supposed to be picking her up for their date that was established early. Once again, set up, payoff. So they were supposed to have a date. So he's going to come when she's getting off work to take her out. So he's probably just, on his way down the street with flowers in his hands. And before the Blob even gets the cook in the sink, he's already gotten the sheriff, which I think is a great fucking reveal. And then as she's beginning to scream, the phone booth just slightly begins to compress, and then it fucking shatters, and we have this bird's eye shot of all of this goo and slime and viscera completely collapsing the phone booth and completely collapsing and engulfing her. And it is a great shot. I got the Shout Factory Blu-ray of this. I don't know if that's what you have as well, Doc, but the restoration of this, because there was so much intentionality with color scheme and lighting in these scenes, this thing just fucking pops, and it's gorgeous. This is a gorgeous kill. What do you? I know you couldn't discern who was who, but what do you think about this set piece as the horror expert?
Well, I gotta say, when like the chef gets pulled into the sink, it really is like super cartoony. It feels like something from like a Looney Tunes cartoon,
Yes.
where it reminds me of like when Michael Jordan gets like pulled into the hole on the golf course in Space Jam, where you could almost hear like a cartoon sound effect, like where like even the drain like gets smaller and wider like as it happens, like just like in a cartoon. Very interesting kill. Like it definitely shows that this movie has a sense of humor where just like wacky stuff like that can happen. But yeah, as for the kill in the phone booth, it's definitely a really cool kill. Like this movie definitely capitalizes on a lot of different aspects of what you can do with the Blob, where you can have that kind of claustrophobic kill where you're just surrounded by it, where like they definitely kind of realize a lot of the unrealized potential of the Blob, because in the original movie it is just kind of this blob that's moving. It looks really cool, but it doesn't really do a lot of stuff most of the time. And a lot of the time you just sort of left kind of having to imagine what it's doing. Like where Steve McQueen is like he's with his girlfriend like locked in a storeroom or something, and they're just like, oh no, the dog is out there, we gotta save it, and it's like, no, we can't. Let's just hang out here for a little while.
I know, he's like, we can't. Sorry.
There's nothing we can do. Let's just wait it out. Like it feels like definitely what I would do in that situation, but it's not very dynamic for a movie. It definitely, the original feels like you're watching a Murder, She Wrote episode a lot of the time, where it's like it's not where it's just a lot of like Steve McQueen trying to explain himself to all these like middle-aged people, which I guess is the theme, where he himself is a middle-aged man who has no like credibility. I don't know.
Steve McQueen as Jessica Thatcher trying to pretend to be a teenager in a small town, trying to explain why people are dying. That is fucking ingenious, and it is absolutely true. The original Blob is a prolongated, it's a 2-part Murder, She Wrote episode.
Yeah.
With less kills than a Murder, She Wrote episode. It's insane.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is fantastic. It's so true. I mean, it's just scene after scene of somebody explaining something to the cops.
The one thing that really pissed me off about the original Blob is that they didn't kill the old lady that was that worked for the doctor, who shows up, because she's such a bitch. She's just like gaslighting everybody. Just like, hey, guess what? No, there's nothing going on. He went to a convention, like as if like she's literally covering for the Blob, where she's like trying her best to help the Blob out, like the Blob like gave her like $50 to give them this false story or something. I don't know.
Let me ask you. Okay, I know we've deviated, but that's fine. The whole time I was like, is there a reason why she's lying? What is her motivation for anything that she does. I know she's supposed to be like the nosy old neighbor or maybe landlord or whatever the fuck she is. But I was like, yeah, why is she lying for the Blob? Like, I don't understand. I don't want to be like, what was this 80-year-old movie character's motivation? But what the fuck was her motivation?
Well, I think it is just she wasn't necessarily lying. She was just like, she's just very nosy, and she's just like, I know what's actually going on. Like, I like just unnecessarily involving herself in a situation she has nothing to do with. Like, just to the point of being a nuisance. Like, it is just a very frustrating character to have in a movie, though. I don't know.
By comparison, this movie does the smart thing, which it doesn't have any of those fucking characters. I guess the closest is probably the Reverend. And this is the first time that he encounters the Blob. He sees the whole kind of diner sequence from the outside. He's in the street. He sees it escaping. He sees the Blob fleeing the scene of the crime after eating this woman eating an entire phone booth. And if I have to say that there's a weakness to the movie, other than some of the now kind of silly Looney Tunes sort of deaths, it's the first big weakness to me is the optical effects, the rear screen projections, just the compositing shots of how they keyed in like Del Close, and especially towards the end. Some of the miniature work, we'll get to it. But in comparison to a lot of the other special effects in the movie, which I think still look pretty good, anytime they cut to a forced perspective shot or a rear projection shot, or where you have a blue screen or green screen shot of the Blob, and you have a person in frame, for the most part, most of those shots don't look very good, and especially in like upgraded HD, no film grain 4K restoration, just doesn't look good at all. So now I do have a question for you. When will you be covering the Garden Tool Massacre series? I know you've done a lot of the slashers. I have yet to see you do Garden Tool Massacre. I know Texas Chainsaw Massacre, at least the original, is maybe arguably your favorite horror movie. Why no Garden Tool Massacre? Because by the looks of it, I saw a clip of it in this movie. It looked fantastic.
Well, it's very hard to acquire a copy of those films. Like, it was difficult to, just clear the rights. Like, for some reason, they're just stuck in legal limbo. Like, we were able to clear the rights to show like a few minutes of the original, one of the sequels, I should say. But it anything beyond that, like, it's just sort of, I don't know. It's almost as if like it doesn't exist. But I know I've seen the film, so I couldn't tell you. I'm just trying my hardest to acquire a copy, but it's just eluded me. Yeah.
I think the coup de grace, right? Like the glory shot of this movie is the movie theater.
Did you know that 10 years ago tonight there was a horrible murder in this house? No way. This man?
You'll love this. He hot girls her to death.
He buried them.
Mister, we're trying to watch it.
This is to me, you again, we take the original Blob, which is, a miniature, and they're pushing Jell-O through a couple of holes in a dollhouse. And then we see a bunch of people like stampeding each other. I think for real in 1958, there's like a girl who takes a very nasty fucking spill if you see the 58 Blob. And that's pretty much it. And then you have a character off screen going, you don't want to go in there. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. I think they heard that line. They're like, what is the worst thing you could ever see in a movie theater? I've got it. The Blob comes through, is on the ceiling as they're watching a slasher movie, and tentacles begin dropping down and ripping people out of their fucking seats. And then as people are scrambling over top of each other to get out of the theater because it's acid, as it's trying to pick people up, goop and body parts start raining down, and the half melted bodies get stuck to the carpet of the aisleways like gum in the movie palace, so that if you try to lift one of the victims up, their body is just fucking melted goo into the carpet. And I think that is absolutely amazing. And I think it's delivering on something they obviously couldn't have done in 1958. And I fucking love it. I love the yo-yo. It's set up. It's the weird guy from The Happening, among some other movies. I think his name is Frank Collison or something like that. He was also in Twin Peaks. And I find it wonderful. As a horror movie expert, where do you rank this movie theater death sequence? Do you love it as much as I do, or are you ambivalent about it, or do you think it sucks?
Well, it feels like when they did this remake, their main prerogative was let's just show stuff.
Yeah.
Let's just actually show what happens. So yeah, it's definitely an amazing scene because it has so much going on simultaneously. It has so many extras. Like, it is just a very complex scene with just a lot of different deaths going on, like within the space of a few moments. Like, yeah, it's definitely, and also it has like kind of that meta aspect where the blob is taking over the screen and then eventually like enveloping everybody. Yeah, it's definitely, I'd say it's certainly just the highlight scene of the film, and it's where the movie really starts to pick up, where honestly everything after this point it's not as great. Like, it definitely peaks in the hour. It peaks once you get to the hour mark. Yeah, I can sort of barely remember the climax. Like, it's sort of like one of those, it's definitely a bleak sequence.
Yes.
Where just it's definitely bleak, and it definitely has a lot of tension when, like, the little kid gets stuck in the door and his sister is trying to get him out of it, like, where you're like, oh man, this kid might actually die during this part.
Yeah,
like,
another great setup, because earlier in the movie, his mom's like, it's chilly, you got to put your jacket on, don't you catch cold? And he's like, oh, Mom. And he's like, this zip rose gets stuck. And then he's out the door, and that's like first 20 minutes of the movie. Here we are, like the hour plus mark, hour plus. And they're what's great is the strobing effect too, because you have like the strobing effect of as it's like passing through the projector projector booth. It's like unblocking the light, and so the lights are strobing in the theater, and it's a very well done effect. Also helps obscure some of like the miniatures and stuff like that they're using. And so, there are people getting ripped out and goop and shit falling, but it's strobing. You can't quite make heads or tails. All you know is that what you're seeing is very dark and grisly and really fucking gross and disturbing. And there's just slime and it's great.
It's cool when the girl goes down into the sewers and she's like climbing down the ladder, and like the blob is like coming after her with the tendrils, and like it's grabbing her hair, and it's you could see like the smoke coming from her hair as it's like grabbing it. Oh man, very cool attention to detail.
We almost go into action movie from this point forward in the movie, because we're trying to escape the feds, we're trying to get out of the sewer, there's a girl in the sewer, and they give you the fake out of, at this point in the 80s, we were used to kids in peril, but the last second they're saved. So they do that, and you think, okay, the brother's in peril, he's going to be saved, he's fine. That's the one moment where they're like, it's tension, we feign that we're going to kill a kid, but of course we're not really going to kill a kid, and instead they kill the neighbor kid. Just minutes later, the fucking blob eats this kid, and it's not enough that he disappears into dark sewer water. That's not enough. He comes roaring back up almost as a last fright, and he's just but
that kid was like kind of a dick though, right? Like, where he's a bit of a dick, where he's like, check out the body on the blonde, like, just like when they're watching the movie, where it's
So again, he's got to have a little kind of a rapey connotation for us to justify murdering him. Is he supposed to be the younger? Is he supposed to be the younger brother of the older guy? I wonder. Is he the younger brother?
The Fred guy who gets killed by a date rape? I don't know. It'd be if he was, then it would be justifiable, I guess. justifiable child murder.
So we have Flag's motorcycle, which has been set up once. It pays off twice. He escapes the feds, and he helps save Meg. I have no idea how he knows. I guess it's a relatively small town but I have no idea how he knew the exact storm sewer Meg and her brother were going to try to get out of, but he apparently did. This is where we get into the climax, the finale of the movie, rather, the town sequence. And this is where the opticals and miniatures go to shit. Yeah. This is some not great stuff. This feels almost rushed. It feels like they ran enough time or they ran enough money, because Joe Seneca gets his gut sucked out into a sewer. The other military guys let's scrag this fucker. They try to kill it. It rises up out of the sewer. It's now almost as big as the town, seemingly, at least town square. There's still some gruesome deaths. Our guy from RoboCop gets bent in half through a bookcase and ripped through town hall. Our creepy reverend gets half of his face fucking burned off through the blob acid. That's pretty cool. There's a lot of people dying in the background, but it's a lot of miniature hazmat suit guys being picked up, and there's a car shot. The blob flips over a car or a truck or something, and it's the most obvious Tonka toy car. It looks like something straight out of a 50s B movie, and I don't think it was meant as a loving homage.
Yeah, I'm looking at one of the I'm looking at one of the slime arms, and it definitely looks like something out of a cartoon almost, where it looks like cell animation, where you could see the outline very, very clearly. But honestly, it almost feels like it is at this point just leaning into, because these are the kind of effects that actually existed in the 50s, but the original Blob was just a very low budget movie where they couldn't even accomplish this. It almost feels like and some of these effects look really great. So part of me feels like hopefully some of the chintzier looking effects are just just intentionally doing things as archaically as possible to just kind of give it that sort of nostalgic feel, because I'm looking at some of these other shots and you can't see the outlines at all. So part of me feels like there's just these certain shots that are just a tribute or something, just to the way things used to be, I guess.
We get Meg. Meg goes full Ellen Ripley here.
Yeah.
Flag ends up becoming pretty ineffectual until the last second. Meg ends up picking a AK-47 up and is firing at the blob, and they have the snow truck because this is a ski town, so they have the artificial snow. They realize, just like in the original, that cold can stop the blob. She ends up saying something of it's not smile, you son of a bitch, but it's something pretty close. And I want to ask the question: what is the first documented usage of a protagonist going blank, 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 you son of a bitch? Is it Jaws? When he says smile, is that the first time in a movie that had horror elements that the protagonist says yada yada yada, you son of a bitch? Because by this point it was pretty cliche.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Jaws. That was the film that was the turning point. Jaws is a great movie, but yeah, it was the turning point where there was much more interest in these action blockbuster kind of films. And that movie isn't really in that mold, but it is what kind of eventually led to so many action blockbuster films, where there are one-liners like that. In the original Jaws, it's a shark, can't even hear you say can't even, and it's already smiling, they're permanently smiling. So it is one of those just dumb. It is a dumb line thinking back on it, but it's cool. It's cool. I would say that in that moment where it's just satisfying, where it always is stupid. Anytime there's one-liners, because it's where there's no purpose to it. It's just cool. It would make you feel good. It would make you feel good to do it.
Yeah.
If you can do it, it's great. Even if nobody's around to hear you say it, which is what usually is the case. There's no point to it, but it's cool.
So
it's
since you
cool.
are a monster, not as much of a monster as Hollywood, we've established this, but you are monster adjacent. Would you say? Is that fair?
Yeah. I consider myself biologically at least a monster.
If someone were to kill you as an act of revenge against all the horrible atrocities you've committed, what would you want the protagonist to say against you, being the evil one? If you could pick your own death quip, that the protagonist is going to use against you in your slaying, what would it be?
I want them to say, "Great this, motherfucker." Like,
I was thinking more along the lines of like, I give this death 7 blobs out of 5 dead rapists, or something to that effect, like something along that line. But I think yours is better. So, and it's ultimately your choice because it's going to be your undoing. So when your reign of terror is finally brought to an end, not only do they stop the blob, they get it to the ice house, and now because of the fake snow, they're going to be able to have tourism. So Meg not only saves the town from the blob, she saves the tourist industry of any town USA, because they're going to be able to ski that winter due to, presumably, I guess that's not going to melt. I don't know. But they celebrate as if, oh, yeah, like everything's in shambles.
Just don't eat the snow, kids. Just don't eat the snow, kids.
Your sheriff is dead. All your friends and family are dead. Everything's in ruins. Your sewer system's completely fucked. So storm sewer and septic. So, don't take a shit anytime soon because, kids are dead. The movie theater's gone. And, I don't think any amount of like hazmat work is going to be able to clean that place up. You're just going to have to fucking demolish that movie theater because there's going to be 80s teens stuck in the carpet like fucking gum.
Come to our town as tourists. Just don't look on Main Street. Just avert your eyes there. It's
oh god!
You don't want to see what's going on there.
Don't go to the diner. The cookie is still in the fucking.
We have
pipes.
a hotel up on the highway. Just stay there. Just stay there.
We're open for business.
What's up with all those body bags? Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Yeah. Yeah. Why are your roads
a lot of
destroyed?
child graves here. What's going on? A lot of funerals this week. What's up with that?
The cemetery is going to have to expand into the fucking football field. Yeah, why is your high school football field a mass burial site? Just don't look over there.
Yeah, that's our Potter's football field.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Okay, so the stinger of the movie is we get the apocalyptic rantings of the Reverend, who's now gone from like quiet Lutheran parson to full-blown fire and brimstone drunk Pentecostal tent revivalist in the middle of Iowa, apparently. I don't know. And he's preaching to a congregation of about 3 people in the hottest summer on record. And he's just sweating through his 3-piece suit. His face is all fucked up. He's a horrible, he's become a monster. His glasses, ironically, I think, at least were partially inspired by you. Is that an Easter egg since you were a producer on the movie? Because he's got like the half.
Yeah, it's definitely my trademark. Del Close was like, I don't understand it. But then I said, yes, and that shut him up. So,
Yes, and you will wear my trademark.
That's how like any film I'm involved in, someone has to wear those glasses. So it's very nice that I was able to get that in there.
Let me ask you, when will there be a much belated and utterly disappointing soft reboot of the Blob? Will they tie in at all to the idea that Del Close, will there be like a Blob cult movie, which was allegedly with one of the sequels? The original sequel was supposed to be this, was like there's going to be like competing factions of apocalyptic blob cults. Which I don't know. There has to be, again, no pun intended, a long gestating Blob remake.
Well, yeah, there was going to be the Rob Zombie remake for a while.
Oh Jesus! Oh fuck!
Yeah, it was interesting because it didn't really seem like it was going to be a Blob movie. There's concept art available. Definitely, there was like a topless, like an almost topless nurse in one of the images. It looked like it was going to be very much a Grindhouse thing, where I think the Blob just turns people into zombies, is what I'm getting at here with the concept art, where like there's like this chick with like dreads on top of a car, like getting attacked by blob monsters. and she's got like an AK-47. So I'm guessing that's Sherry Moon Zombie, I suppose.
Yes.
And yeah, there's like a nurse who's like you could see one of her nipples as she's getting attacked by a blob monster, and like the military is shooting it, and they're shooting this blob monster and it has blood. So it's I don't know. It very much seems like it's one of those things where I think it was gonna happen, but it didn't end up happening. But I think when Rob Zombie, he was getting into remaking stuff, he was very much like, I'm just remaking it because it's a recognizable title that will elevate me as a filmmaker.
Yes.
Where that was why he remade Halloween, where it was like didn't have any real necessarily hardcore connection to Michael Myers' Halloween. It was just like, well, it's an opportunity to, I guess, make something a little bit more mainstream.
You know that new waitress over at the Bingo Lounge? She can give me the freaky eye.
Oh, the whore with the big tits hanging down to her knees?
Maybe I'll choke the chicken, purge my snorkel all over them flappy-ass tits.
Good, we'll have a good fucking time.
I will.
I hope she likes cripples.
Bitch, I will crawl over there and I will skull fuck the shit out of you.
Oh, I'll get the crutches for you.
His previous two films were little cult successes.
Yeah.
But they weren't like mainstream horror films that get a lot of people in the seats. But like those Halloween movies, like they made like, I think his first one made like $250 million. Like,
oh, man.
I think that was
like fact. That's a grim detail.
Yeah, I think that was his only huge success, and I think the second one didn't do as well, like because like they introduced white horses and shit like that. Where it's just, I don't know.
Yes,
I feel like you can do another Blob movie and have it be something where it's all the same. It's all the same world, like where the remake is actually a sequel, where it's the same race of creature, and it's just have it be like that.
Yeah, the twist of this one, which we didn't cover, is like in the 58 one, it's just a meteor, right? It's an alien life form.
Yeah, it's an alien.
Yeah.
And in this one, it's like a government experiment, I believe.
But it'd be so easy to tie those two together, right?
Yeah. Well, it would turn out that, they actually extracted the blob from the original movie from the Arctic and tried to replicate it as a weapon, and it backfired. And you could explore that some more and kind of connect those two. I think there's an opportunity there where it's like a stealth remake, but it's actually a sequel kind of a thing, where it's like it's a remake to anyone else who's not necessarily familiar with the two films, but it's a sequel to people who catch that. Oh yeah, actually this is all connected. Like, I think there's an opportunity there. And
since the polar ice caps are fucking melting in the real world, you could just have the dormant blob from 58 is waking up. I tweeted this, but one of the ideas that I had was, if you wanted to do like a smaller budgeted kind of a thing, you could almost do like as like on the edge of society, like on the edge of civilization, like the blob is like slowly, the 58 blob is like slowly made its way to, somewhere in the Arctic Circle or whatever. Not that I wanted it to be too much like The Thing, but it'd be like a whole commentary about how, the 50s generation kicked the can on their problems down the road, and environmental stuff and global warming stuff. And not that I wanted to be too preachy, but you could like play around with those themes and maybe write it intelligently. And then, even though it's a blob movie, and then you could also like, have it be some, I don't know, indigenous people or whatever who have to encounter it. And, I'm thinking like 30 Days of Night or The Thing to some extent, but I'd really want it to not be The Thing, but somewhere isolated, claustrophobic, cut off from the world, having to face the blob where, and really having to face like the sins of the past sort of coming against them, somebody else's sins of the past. I think it's like, that'd be a cool movie. Or you could do something else and you could still tie it all in together of oh, hey, this is, the 88 and 58 are actually of one cloth, and so is this one.
I think you can explore the idea of people also just turning into the blob and it kind of spreading through the air, like as some kind of virus, like where it is like much more pervasive, where it isn't just like, oh no, it's just where it's this one physical entity that's just a lot easier to deal with, where it is just like something a little bit more apocalyptic, because like between these two Blob films, it's like just limited to just a small town. Like it's not really spreading across the United States. So I think it would be interesting to explore a much more of an apocalyptic crisis with the Blob, I suppose.
If you had to give this Blob a score out of 10, what would you give it?
I'd say it's a good 8 out of 10. I'd say.
I'm a little higher than you. I give it an 8.5 out of 10. I think I like it because it has zero bloat. It's a relatively perfectly paced and structured film. It just moves through the paces pretty well. I think that you're right. I think the third act kind of, it crests a little early. It's not horrible. The ending's not horrible, but it doesn't really compare. And there's a good 20-minute section somewhere in the middle of this movie that is very tightly done. It's a very, I even get like, this is going to sound blasphemous, but kind of Terminator 2 sort of vibes of just that menacing, chasing, unstoppable monster. I guess the original Terminator as well, sort of sequence. I really enjoy it. Do you have any final thoughts on the Blob, or we've exhausted everything that Dr. Wolfula has to say about 1988's The Blob?
I say go watch it, because I got to get those royalty checks, somehow. So yeah,
right.
Just watch it. Buy every copy you find on Amazon. Just please. I need it. I need it. Okay. I spent so much money on this film. It's just, God.
So would you say you'd give it 8 royalty checks out of 10 Del Closes?
Yes. I exactly. Yeah. God.
All
Seriously
right.
though, please see this movie.
When you're not picking apart 40-year-old movies in Akron, Ohio, where can we find you, Dr. Wolfula?
Well, you can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/Dr. Wolfula. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Dr. Wolfula. So follow me there, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and it's pretty much all the places I frequent. Yeah.
Somewhere along the line, some algorithm spit you out and said, "Here, watch this." And I caught one of your reviews of some movie. I don't even remember. And I thought, it's not just funny. It's intelligent. It's very well done. It's just, concise. Unlike this show, it's very concise. You're able to get in. You cover a lot of ground in a relatively short period of time. I think you are the best horror host in the business today, and the best in a really long time. You don't put out as much content as most YouTubers, but you put out better content. And I know that Goulash has just started his own channel. So tell us about the Goulash channel.
Oh, well, that channel, it pretty much covers, just the horror stuff that you grew up on initially. Just stuff like Scooby-Doo, Addams Family. It's kind of in the early phases, but yeah, it's gonna just cover stuff like Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark? Just kind of the more family friendly horror that we all just grew up on, and it's gonna be fun. Just needs a little bit more time, but the next video is coming out soon in like a couple of days or so. So just find it at youtube.com/The Gulag, which is TheGhOULOG. So
I appreciate it, Doc. I appreciate you being here. I'd love to have you on again at some time. I know you're a very, very busy evil scientist, but we'd love to hear from you again. I'm sure our binge lords, our listeners, will feel the same way. Make sure you follow him. Make sure you subscribe to his channel.
Yes, thank you.
Of course, if you want to find us, we are available on all of your favorite podcast apps. Find us on Twitter at Binge Movies. You can find us in Letterboxd/Binge Movies. Normally what we do is we binge movies. We have 4 seasons a year, about 5 episodes a season. We have different movie critics and film reviewers and podcasters from around the world come on. They are a guest with me. We watch 5 movies. We rank, we review, we eliminate. We pick the best of the week. My best goes on to a short list. Their best goes on to a guest list. At the end of every season, those lists square off. We have 2 film critics. We put them together, and we pit them against each other in film Mortal Kombat, as it were. We try to determine what is the best movie, the movie most worthy of preservation for all time, even beyond the end times, and most worthy of your time. And that movie gets added to our vault. So if you're listening to this, we've just recently added our 9th or 10th movie into our Binge Movies vault to be preserved for all time, so that when the Blob apocalypse happens, we can preserve film canon for the people who are trying to rebuild human civilization. So that's what we're up to here. We've got a bunch of other bonus features as well. It was a pleasure having you, Dr. Wolfula.
Yeah, thank you.
Until next time, binge on.
For some reason, Cleveland has always had the weirdest local TV, the greatest radio comedians, the most bizarre late-night movie hosts. They love bad movies in Cleveland, by the way. They'll show stuff in Cleveland they won't show in the Philippines. And tonight, we're continuing with our month-long Horror Host Hall of Fame by honoring the man who started that whole Cleveland thing, the late-night movie host on Cleveland's WJW-TV Channel 8 from 1963 to 1966, and he has been a folk hero and a legend ever since. His real name is Ernie Anderson, and he's one of the top voice talents in America for the ABC network. You know the voice that introduced the Love Boat? I won't try to do it here because he's in the Magic Castle here with me. It'd be embarrassing. But that Love Boat voice, that's Ernie. He started out in radio. He was the comedy partner of Tim Conway in his early days in Cleveland. But tonight we're going back to his horror heyday when he was so hot that kids in Cleveland dressed up like him at Halloween. They bought his sweatshirts. They drank out of mugs with his name on them. We've recreated his old set, and we've asked him to introduce tonight's movie on drive-in theater just exactly like he would have done it between 1963 and 1966. 1966 was the year when the local PTA finally put pressure on the station and ran him out of Cleveland. He was known for his wardrobe. He dressed like a cross between Maynard G. Krebs and the devil. He was known for his lingo. He invented words like kniff, which is fink spelled backwards. And he had slogans that he used all the time like turn blue, which kids would do it literally. They'd hold their breath till they turned blue. And he was especially known for his jokes about Parma. Now, Parma is a Polish suburb of Cleveland where people wear bowling shoes to work. It's that kind of place. We'll be interviewing Ernie after the movie, but right now, from the Hepcat world of the early 60s, please welcome the great, the only, Ghoulardi.
Before we begin, I'm going to give you a secret. Joe Bob wears makeup. I don't need any makeup. Ghoulardi needs no makeup. Ghoulardi's done drunk himself handsome. Another thing about Joe Bob. You know the hat? He's all hat and no movies. You know, Ghoulardi hates nostalgia. Ghoulardi knows nostalgia ain't what it used to be. Ask yourself this question as you sit there in your living room or wherever you may be. Why are you watching this? You could be out having a good time with the guys, playing poker. Ghoulardi plays poker all alone. Find a girl and you poker. Ain't bad. My kind of game.